Welcome back to the Tool Crib. Today I want to show you the Leatherman Juice KF4. Now this is a long time retired juice model. It was only made in the first generation of juices, and when they switched to scaling over and updated the juice line, they didn't continue the KF4, one that I really wish they had of. This is actually my favorite of all the juice series, and so much in fact that this one here is actually new old stock, and I don't intend to use this one because it's brand new, but and they're really hard to come by in brand new condition. So what I want to do is I want to try to find another KF4 in used that at a decent price, because I really want to start carrying this one for those times when it's not maybe viable to be carrying around a big Leatherman Surge. You know, days that you're going out to eat, you know, a little fancier restaurant, you're in slacks, you're going to a wedding, what have you. For those times, I usually would carry the Juice S2, but I think, for me personally, the KF4 is the better option in combination with one particular small Victorinox knife that I really like a lot, and I'll bring that in and show you that as well. This is kind of what I think my away from work, or you know, those for those social engagements, I think it would be the better EDC choice for me. Well, let's get into the specs of this. I want to show you why I like the KF4 so much. The overall weight on the KF4 is going to come in at 5 ounces. That's going to be about 142 grams. Length on this is 3 1/4 inches long, or about 82.5 millimeters. The width measured at the widest point, which is going to be right there in the center, is 1 1/4 inches wide, or 32 millimeters. Now, what I really like about the Juice KF4 is the fact that it is really thin in comparison to some of the other models. This is 5/8 of an inch thick, and what I mean by some of those other models, like the CS4, the Juice Pro, or the XE6. Now, I don't own the Pro, but I do own the XE6, and we'll just set that beside there. You can see how much thicker the XE6 is in comparison to the KF4, and the Pro is going to be the same way. Even though they're more capable than the KF4, I like the tool set better in the KF4, and I like its size and compactness a lot more than I do those larger ones. One other comparison I want to show you, this is the Victorinox Evo Grip 18, which I think is a very good knife. The way that, or the reason that I lean more towards something like the KF4 is because it's plier based, and even away from work I do have a need for a decent set of pliers. And while the Juice pliers are not the strongest in the world, they're definitely capable. They're definitely more capable than some keychain multi-tools, which I think have really terribly weak pliers on them. But the Juice KF4, or all the Juice line, really have some pretty decent pliers on them. So that's why I lean more towards something like this KF4 as opposed to the plethora of Victorinox knives that are out there. Now, you can see that obviously the Juice is going to be wider than this knife. The length is about the same, but it's going to be a lot thinner in profile. So I like that a lot. Now, the one and only drawback to me before we get into the tool set is the fact that the Juice series never came with a pocket clip. Yeah, I think they would have been ideal candidates for an engineered deep carry pocket clip. I think they would have sold a lot better too. That was my only complaint about this one. Some people will say that they're not going to like the KF4 because of the fact that it doesn't have scissors. Personally, I like this multi-tool in combination with one particular Victorinox knife, a 2-layer knife that, a single layer knife that I think really works well with this, because it gives me a couple other personal care things that are not really in the KF4, and I think in combination those two are outstanding kind of gentleman's carry EDC multi-tools to carry together. I think they just work really well in combination with one another. First thing is on the scales. Now, I really like the older Juice models better. They had this anodized aluminum scales, where the newer models, they had an aluminum scale on one side and it had that textured look. Now, it's not bad. I just still prefer the old anodized aluminum. I wish they would have continued with that instead. I think they look better, and then they're anodized and colored on both sides. The first tool that it has is a little ruler. You're not going to get a whole lot of use out of this little ruler, but nonetheless it has it. So it's about 3 inches, or about 7.5 centimeters. So I guess it's decent. It's not super bad, but it could be better. The first thing, or the biggest reason I like the older Juice series is because they had a little better knife blade. So this is a 2 1/4 inch 428C blade, and that's about 57 millimeters. Well, here's the Juice S2, the newer version of the Juice S2, and you can see that the blade shape, the blade length on here are all different. This is actually about 5/16 of an inch longer than the current Juice models, which they're starting to phase out. So I don't know if they're going to make a third generation of the Juice series, or if they're just going to phase them out completely, or maybe replace them with some other new model of tool. But I'm kind of sad that the Juice is going away, even though I don't carry them. I know this would fit the bill for a lot of different people, and so it's really kind of sad that they're ending that line. First and foremost, I like the blade on this. I think it's a good blade. Now, normally I like about a 2 1/2 inch blade, but on this smaller multi-tool, I'm really fine with the length of this blade. All slip joint, but the slip joint in there is pretty decent. It holds back pretty good. What I do like about this, because I use it a lot, is this one has a serrated blade. Now, the old Pro has all these tools and more, but the Pro gets a little bit chunky for me for this package. I really like the KF4, the size of that 5/8 of an inch thickness. So it has a full length serrated blade on there too, and that one is very nice too. And serrated blades are something I use a lot. I know not everybody does, but I do. KF4 also comes with the Juice Awl. Now, obviously, it's not the greatest awl in the world, but in a pinch, it does a pretty decent job, and it has a cut edge here for reaming functionality. Now, to get the next tool out, which is the saw, you have to lift up the awl. Then you can set it back in. I like the fact that it has a full length awl on it. It's got a little bit of nastiness on there. I need to pay more attention to my multi-tools, I guess. So it has a full length saw on it. It's not wave capable saw, but for this multi-tool and what it does, I really like the fact that it has these 4 outer implements. So actually 5, because it gives you the little awl on the outside as well. And then the last tool is the diamond file. I love the fact that this has a diamond file on it. Diamond file I use a lot, whether it be in personal care, just kind of filing your fingernails. With the work I do in metal work, I need a good diamond file like this on a lot of different occasions. Diamond files are fantastic, by the way. Now, it's not something I'd probably be using with KF4, but nonetheless, diamond files are really great for resharpening high strength steel drill bits in the field when you're not near a sharpener to get them sharpened up. I mean, you can do it with a file, but a regular file, but this diamond file is just so much better. Literally, I can take a 1/2 inch bit that the tip is burned out a little bit on it and it's not cutting right, and within about a minute I can reset that bit so that it is super sharp again and goes right back to work. Love the fact that there's a diamond file. Has the edge file and then the crosscut file, all of which are really good on this. Now, if we get to the inside, we have the standard Juice pliers. Pliers are not the greatest in the world, but they do okay. Let's pull in. We got a little bit of 10 gauge. Now, 10 gauge is a little much for this multi-tool, but you can see it'll get right through it. Not even some of the larger Gerbers can cut through stuff like that. So that is something that I really like. Has a little bit of hard wire cutting capability, and I've got a little coat hanger from the last test that we did. So let's see if that'll fit in there. See how it seats in there. Oh, that did fine. That did just great getting through there. And you can see no marks whatsoever. That little Juice plier is not really bad, especially when you consider the size of this multi-tool. Then the rest of the tools on the interior, with the exception of a little lanyard loop that is very hard to get out of there, so I'm just going to leave it. You have your screwdrivers. So you have a dedicated number 2 screwdriver. Now, it's not very long, but for this multi-tool, it'll get you out of those little pinches, and I'm okay with this. And I like the fact that it's, in this one, I like the fact that it is a full dimensional bit as opposed to a bit exchanger, because that just would not work well in this tool, I don't think. And then on the other side, you have your 3 flat drivers. So you got a let's see, it is 1/4 1/8 inch, and I think that's 1/8, 3/16. You know what? I have to double check that. I don't want to tell you wrong. Let me get a tape measure in here and just make sure. So this is just shy of 1/8. No, it's actually 1/8. So this is 1/16, I guess. Then it is 1/16, 1/8, and that looks to be 3/16. No, it might be quarter. It's 1/4 inch. So 1/16, 1/8, and 1/4, and all same problem with the length on them. They don't give you a lot of reach, and they're all slip joint, so you're not going to be able to get a whole lot of major work done with them. But in a pinch, you know, these are going to help to get light cover, you know, an outlet cover off, or a light switch cover, stuff like that. Number of different things. Medium duty task, nothing super hardcore. But then again, you know, this tool is not made for super hardcore. I like this tool a lot. Now, one thing that it is not going to have is going to be scissors, like we have on the Juice S2. Now, frankly, the Juice S2 scissors, they're decent. They're just not the greatest in the world. What I prefer is to pair this. I actually think, for me personally, I would like to carry this in a case like this, and then add in the Victorinox Ambassador, because the Ambassador gives me the personal care stuff that I really like on multi-tools, on these smaller ones especially. So the first thing is I like the fact that it has dedicated nail file and dedicated nail cleaner instead of the little pin blade. I love that. Then I get a backup blade that I can use for just other stuff. If I want to use this blade for, you know, a little more major tasks, and I can always leave this one sharp, be great for peeling fruit and stuff like that. And the fact that it's, you know, that high polished, has more chromium in it, it's not going to rust near as much. It's just going to be a cleaner blade altogether. And then it has a good pair of scissors. These scissors work really, really well. Now, they're not the greatest length, but they do a fantastic job. And the Ambassador and the Money Clip are two of my favorite Victorinox multi-tools. I also like the fact that it's going to give you the toothpick in the scales for the Ambassador and a good set of tweezers. So for those reasons, I love this combination of the KF4 and the Ambassador. I think that is just a fantastic combination. I wish they'd never discontinued the KF4, because frankly, I think I'm going to use this. I think this is going to be my away from the job site EDC. Something that, you know, I don't need to, on those days when I don't need to carry a multi-tool that is as robust or as capable as those others. Just something when I'm running around town going to get the groceries. You never know what's going to come up. I think this package is great. I think this would be a great gentleman's EDC. I really do. This has been my little overview of the KF4 and what I intend to do with the KF4 in short order, so as I can find one to carry on as an everyday tool. And I think that Ambassador is going to go along with it. I think that's a great combination. My name is Ben. You've been watching the Texas Tool Crib. Hope you've enjoyed this little overview of the Leatherman Juice KF4. If you did, hit the thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one.